Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to yet another Video Friday. Thank you so much for joining me here, where every Friday we talk about health and wellness, and we dive into topics ranging from self-massage to emotion to intellectual, physiological, spiritual, you name it. Today, we are furthering our conversation this week around emotional intelligence, and we will be taking a look at emotion AI, technology's role in marketing and healthcare, as well as beginning with how to read a person's expressions when they're wearing a mask. So there's actually what we call micro expressions, and micro expressions are responses of internal thought and emotion. What I mean by that is when we feel something or we think something inside, there is a micro expression that is displayed on the outside. Now, something really cool about this is actually micro expressions are involuntary, meaning that we have no control over the activation of the muscles that make these expressions. It's an involuntary response. There are actually 7 major micro expressions that are universal. So no matter if we were in India, China, Russia, Japan, Australia, all people, all humans on this planet have the involuntary response to internal actions and internal thoughts, and they are displayed in 7 major ways. So I'm going to go through those, and even with wearing this mask, you can still perceive the emotion that I am expressing. The first one is fear. When we are fearful, it looks like this. The eyebrows, as you notice, went flat. That is a distinct sign between fear and surprise. When we are surprised, the eyebrows are arched up. The third major micro expression is anger. When we are angry, our eyebrows again lower, similar to fear, but instead of just having the lowered eyebrows, we also have this wrinkling in between the eyebrows. So the wrinkling lines between the eyebrows indicates that a person is angry, not fearful. The fourth major micro expression is sadness. When we're sad, you notice that the eyebrows are again flattened, but then the inner corner of my eyebrows raise up. Sadness is honestly one of the hardest micro expressions to fake. So when someone is looking sad, then most likely you can trust that they are indeed sad. The fifth micro expression is disgust. When people are disgusted, like if you smell something really bad, ugh, what's that smell? Then your nose gets crinkles in between the eyebrows. But not only do you get the vertical crinkles, you also get, as you can see, these horizontal crinkles. The sixth micro expression is contempt. Contempt can be pretty tricky for us to recognize while a person is wearing a mask, because one of the defining signs of contentment is a one-sided mouth movement. So generally one side of the mouth goes up and the eyes pretty much, or the eyebrows pretty much stay flattened, and the eyes can do this sometimes like quivering action. That's contentment. And the final major expression is happiness. Happiness is also termed the Duchenne Smile, because there are 2 distinct ways that you can tell that someone is happy. The mouth will obviously open up and we'll be able to see teeth, or the corners of the mouth will at least go up. And then the second defining sign that someone is happy is the wrinkles, the corner of the eyes become wrinkly, and this is the hardest thing to actually fake. So it's said that only 1 in 10 people can actually fake happiness. They could do the corner of the mouth or the smiling, but unless you are genuinely happy, you will most likely not be able to fake the activation of the muscles around the orbitals. And now that brings us to our second point. Just because a person looks happy doesn't mean that they actually are. And we can see this to be true in technology. So there was a professor at the University of California, and his name is Jonathan Gratch. And Jonathan is a computer science professor, and he is a huge advocate of putting a pause to emotional analytics. What he says is these emotional analytic algorithms are basically unreliable because they are simply just reading a person's micro movements and not really hitting an accurate emotion, meaning similar to the programs that animators use to create their cartoon characters, there is a basic standardized classification of each and every micro movement in your face. And each of these movements is called an action unit. And when we smile, for example, the Duchenne Smile, when we're happy and we smile, that corner of the mouth rising up, that's going to be considered an action unit 12. And when the wrinkles happen on the side of the eyes to show genuine happiness, that's actually considered or classified as an action unit 16. So just because these certain algorithms like Amazon's recognition can correctly identify facial expressions, it doesn't mean that it's correctly identifying the emotion that a person is feeling inside. And on a small scale, this may seem harmless, but when these kinds of machine learned basically softwares are being used in the judicial system, in government, law enforcement, any kind of avenue like that, is actually quite harmful, and it can be detrimental to people's wealth, their health, and even their livelihoods. And it's interesting because, often when we think of AI in the movies and books, we think of robots coming to take over us and basically being trained by humans to a level of deep learning where they end up taking over the world and completely obliterating the human race. And, I definitely am a huge proponent for using AI. I love it. I definitely think that there's a place for AI in our culture and society, but I think that it definitely needs to be used in the right context, and definitely there's got to be more research done to improve these algorithms so that we're not destroying people's lives here. And in the healthcare industry, AI, it has been seen to be really making some great strides in various ways. So just as a physician can collect data from a patient in a small, let's say in like a 4-hour period, collecting a certain amount of data, a computer can actually mine data at a much faster rate and be more efficient and can collect this same amount of data in perhaps a minute. So it's obvious in data collection where AI can play a huge role. AI also offers precise treatment for patients, so we're giving customized treatment plans based on the data that is mined, and that can really bring advancements into healthcare to go from like a generalized plan, kind of a one size fits all, to a more refined and customized approach. Also, AI has been known to help in medication management, just ensuring that patients are taking the medicines that they're supposed to be taking at the right times. And along the same lines as medication, AI can possibly in the future, with more development, speed up the discovery of medication that could combat illnesses like the virus COVID-19. But for now, we need to really, I believe, hone in on our human, or what I like to call analog intelligence, and use that intelligence that is within all of us, our inner technology, to begin to deepen our relationships and our connections, and especially in a time like this where we are wearing a mask and we can't really see as much of people's faces, because 93% of our communication is nonverbal. So that means that we are heavily relying on body language and on these micro expressions and our ability to interpret them. So some tips to take with you today as you move forward in this life, and especially in this time where we're wearing these masks, is to maintain eye contact. It's just a million self-defense, self-preservation even mechanism to avert the eyes whenever you feel that you're in danger. So we're literally all throwing shade right now for ourselves and on ourselves, because without being able to fully read a person's face, our bodies are physiologically thinking, uh-oh, we're in danger. And think about how often you're outside and you're walking around with others and you have to wear a mask at the grocery store, at the drugstore, at the post office, even at times if you are going out to eat right now. I mean, there's just so many aspects of our lives where we are subconsciously are being told that we're in danger. And it's because of this mammalian response to want to throw shade and avert the eyes, kind of imitating the I'm not here, this is not real dynamic, like essentially playing dead. So it's really, really important right now that we make an extra effort to maintain that eye contact. Another great way moving forward to deepen our connections with each other right now is to maintain an open body stance. Body language is everything. So a non-defensive stance, maybe not crossing the arms, maybe angling the hips a little bit, and just being having a very receptive body stance is going to really help us right now. And lastly, this one's huge, and it's something that I've been personally using, and it makes me feel strangely very good, and I can tell that the other person receives it well when I just flat out state my emotion. So by saying like, wow, you're really making me happy today, or I really feel so great to see you, or I'm smiling so hard right now, I'm so full of joy. And while that might sound kind of corny, right, it's actually a really smart way to connect with people, and it just brings us closer together in these socially distanced times. So I know I threw a lot of information your way today. I hope you really enjoyed today's Video Friday. As always, hit the thumbs up or the heart button, depending on what platform you are watching this on. And as always, love deep, breathe deeper, and I will catch you next week. Have a great one. Peace.